If you're a student, you've probably had that end of the month feeling, right? That panic when you realize the money's gone, but the month isn't. Well, today we're going to break down a super simple, step-by-step guide to go from totally broke to feeling balanced. And the best part, the main tool you need is probably already on your phone. Let's dive in. Does this sound familiar? It's the question that haunts so many of us. You get your money, you live your life, and then poof, it just kind of vanishes. This was the exact problem our guy Arjun was facing every single month. And here's what that looked like, that vicious cycle. Step 1, he'd get his pocket money and feel amazing. Step 2, that money would just get sprinkled around on food, gadgets, going out, with no real plan at all. And then step 3, and you know what's coming, he'd end up completely broke and stressed, just waiting for the next month to do it all over again. And look, this wasn't just about having an empty wallet. It was about the stress that came with it. He felt trapped, couldn't save for things he actually wanted, couldn't plan for anything, and was always just dependent on that next drop of cash. It's a really draining way to live. But then, a friend suggested something that seemed almost too simple. Forget complicated finance books or scary spreadsheets. The advice was to use a tool he was already super familiar with. AI. And this, right here, was the turning point. So what's the very first thing he did? He decided to go after the biggest beast first, creating a budget. And as you're about to see, it was way less scary than he imagined. Just look at how simple this is. This is the exact prompt he used. No complicated jargon, no deep financial history needed, just a really clear, simple request. Help me create a monthly budget. I am a student with a 10,000 rupee income. You could literally use this template right now. It is the perfect first step. And here's what he got back. The AI gave him this simple but incredibly powerful framework, the 50-30-20 rule. So 50% for his needs, rent and food, 30% for wants, like going out and having fun, and this is the real game changer, a dedicated 20% just for savings. All of a sudden, his money had a job. For the first time, Arjun actually had a map. But a map is pretty useless if you don't know where you are on it, right? So the next phase was all about building those core skills. Budgeting, yeah, but also tracking his spending, and finally, taking control. Okay, so Arjun had a budget. That's a great start. But a budget is really just a plan. He quickly realized he didn't actually know where his money was going. So he went right back to his AI mentor with the next logical question. And again, the AI's advice was just beautifully simple. No fancy apps needed. Step 1, just write down every single thing you buy. Step 2, group those buys into categories like food or subscriptions. And step 3, just take a look at it once a week. The goal here isn't complex accounting. It's just about awareness. And this right here shows you the power of just tracking. After only 1 week, Arjun had this huge realization. It wasn't the big purchases that were killing his budget. It was the coffee here, the snack there. All that small, mindless spending was adding up to a huge amount. This was a massive light bulb moment. Once he saw where the money was leaking from, he felt empowered. He wasn't just a victim of his own spending anymore. He was ready to actually take control, which of course led to his next question for the AI. The AI's advice wasn't about being miserable. It was about building smarter habits. Simple things like having a 24-hour waiting period for stuff you don't need just to kill those impulse buys, or setting a hard weekly limit for entertainment. But maybe the most powerful tool was asking one simple question. Do I truly need this, or do I just want it? So Arjun had totally mastered the basics of budgeting and control. He was ready to think bigger. He was ready to stop just surviving the month and actually start planning for his future. His first question was, okay, how much should I actually be saving? The AI's advice was realistic for a student. Just start with a consistent 10 to 20% of your income. See, the key wasn't the exact amount, but the consistency, building that habit. And what's really cool is that this wasn't a static plan. As Arjun's life changed, he got a part-time job, his income grew, his financial plan evolved right along with him. He could go back to the AI for an updated strategy. You can see the progression here, from a basic student budget to a more serious plan that includes an emergency fund and beginner investing. The AI literally scaled with his life. So let's just step back for a second and look at the total transformation. What did all of these small, consistent steps, guided by AI, actually lead to? Well, the results came way faster than he expected. After just 3 months, he had actual savings in his bank account for the very first time. That familiar end-of-month panic? Gone. It was replaced by a sense of calm and, most importantly, a feeling of control. And this was his ultimate insight. He realized the amount of money he had was never the real issue. The problem was the complete and total lack of a plan. Now that is a powerful shift in mindset. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Arjun's story is basically a roadmap. It shows how you can use AI as your own personal mentor to create a budget, track your spending, cut out the waste, build a savings habit, and ultimately start planning for your future. And to make this super actionable for you, here are the exact prompts from Arjun's journey. So whether you want to create a budget, figure out tracking, or start saving, you can just copy and paste these into an AI tool right now and get started. And let's be crystal clear about the main takeaway here. AI is not a magic wand. It's not going to make you rich overnight. It's a tool. Its real power is in helping you build the discipline and giving you the information you need to make smarter decisions for yourself. Arjun's story shows that financial clarity can start with just a single question. The tools are free, they're accessible, and they are waiting for you right now. So my question to you is, what's the first thing you're going to ask?
एक कदम विकसित भारत की ओर।